Yo, what is going on here? Chem Coop, week 10 of our APA Ascension League here. Gonna go ahead and bring you guys our team builder and then the battle, but first we have a couple of free agent announcements. So last week, the end of week 9 was the trade to trade deadline between coaches, and then the end of week 11 is the deadline for any free agent transactions. And you get three free agent transactions per season. So I figured I was going to go ahead and use my free agent transactions to try and shore up some weaknesses. Obviously, we've already played 9 games, have some idea of what our team is good against, what our team is weak against. And so looking at it, I felt like I was pretty weak to toxic spikes. And also my pursuit trapper was not that great, like my spirit tomb. The couple of times that I've tried to use it to pursuit trap, it just hasn't worked out. A, because toxic spikes have been up, and B, just because it's not really strong enough, and the fact that it's still weak to fairy does leave it weak to really powerful psychics, stuff like Mega Alakazam with Dazzling Gleam, stuff like that. Spirit Tomb's not really going to be able to take those on super well. So I tried to shore up both those weaknesses, and luckily we've had some coaches drop, and the replacement coaches get a number of transactions to try and fix up their team to be more to their tastes. So one of the replacement coaches that had Skuntank ended up dropping it. So I decided, when I saw Skuntank come available, I decided it was time for me to make my move. So in order to get Skuntank, I ended up dropping my Spirit Tomb, picked up the Skuntank, but Skuntank is more expensive than Spirit Tomb, so I ended up having to drop my Minior as well. Sad face, ripped the Meteor, getting that game 1 sweep, and that was it. But I figured that's the only time I've brought it, and a lot of times I don't really see myself bringing it. So I wanted to try and shore up maybe some other matchup where Minior wouldn't be good, but I could justify bringing something else that I would bring in. And so the Pokemon I ended up bringing instead was Golisopod. So we dropped Spirit Tomb and Minior for Golisopod and Skuntank. Skuntank, really nice, gives us another Defogger, a Poison type to absorb Toxic Spikes, and it's just a little bit stronger of a Pursuit Trapper than Spirit Tomb. So, yeah. I definitely like the Skuntank pickup. Golisopod, I'm not as sold on, but looking at some possible teams that I could be playing in the last couple weeks of the season, as well as playoffs, Golisopod's a pretty solid Pokemon. Obviously, it does have the kind of crippling ability with the emergency exit, but that can also be a tactical advantage if you know how and when to position Golisopod, so that way you can get a nice free switch into something else through the emergency exit. But yeah, having the really strong priority in first impression is super nice. It also gets stuff like Aqua Jet and Sucker Punch, so even though it's really slow, it does have some nice speed. In that regard, it does have the nice priority. It also has access to Swords Dance, Bulk Up, not toxic spikes, regular spikes. Got some rock type moves like Stone Edge and stuff. So Drill Run as well for steel types if you need to hit them. I felt like Golisopod. I'm not 100% sure that I will use it at any point in the season, but it's certainly a possibility and something that I feel like I would be more comfortable using than, say, Minior. But those are our additions to the team, and definitely glad I made them, because looking at my opponent this week, we're playing Coach K. Knalley and the Columbus Crobats. I think they're 4-5, so having a bit of a rougher season, but certainly have a lot of terrifying threats on their team. Zapdos is just a phenomenal Pokemon. It is so powerful. It just in its supreme bulk, pretty solid typing. Its coverage is nice, having Heat Wave on it, so normally you think, oh yeah, electric types, like I can beat them with grass types, but no, it has Heat Wave, so like my Ferrothorn's going to get popped. Luckily, Zapdos has really bad flying coverage, so that's not as much of a concern, but it does just have a lot of bulk and is just a really solid support Pokemon, and you can also use it offensively if you opt to go for like a Choice Scarf, because it does have respectable special attack and very good speed. His second pick, the Hoopa Unbound, also just a terrifying Pokemon. This thing has it's kind of like Diancie in that it has really big attack and special attack stats. So it can function as either like a Nasty Plot special attacker, you can run as a Choice Band physical attacker, it's also not a bad Choice Scarfer, stuff like that, but of course the 4x weakness to Bug and just its low defense is kind of its big weak points. But yeah, Hoopa Unbound also looks really good against my team just because it does get a nice array of coverage and setup options and is reasonably fast. The other Pokemon that my opponent's been using a lot is Araquanid, getting up the Sticky Web, and then just abusing Water Bubble Liquidation with like a Choice Band. It hits so hard, and there are like no switch-ins. Even resists take a ton of damage, so yeah. Mega T-Tar, also nice setup sweeper, has access to the Stealth Rocks, it's got Dragon Dance, and just a lot of nice coverage. It can also function as a Pursuit Trapper. It gets Earthquake, Iron Head, Stone Edge, Crunch, all that sort of stuff. So it's also a really bulky Pokemon, especially with Sand Up. Takes tons and tons of special hits. Yeah. I guess some other Pokemon I can see my opponent bringing. Registeel is pretty good as a Diancie check. Special Defense Registeel is not really going to take a lot from Earth Power, and it can set up rocks and just kind of harass my team by spreading Toxic and Seismic Toss and that sort of stuff. Zygarde 10 also has really good speed tier against my team. It's faster than everything naturally, and something like a Choice Band Zygarde 10 doesn't really have switch-ins. 1,000 Arrows hits so hard. Outrage hits so hard. Having a nice Banded Extreme Speed is also super nice. So I can definitely see that Pokemon coming. Honestly, yeah, pretty much everything on my opponent's team other than the Whirlipede I could actually see coming. Emboar is nice against my defensive core. Something like Grass Knot, Flare Blitz Superpower is really good against like Snorlax, Ferrothorn, Quagsire. Gyarados is his All-Z setup Pokemon. I don't really see it coming because it's not super great against Quagsire unless you're running like Taunt, DD Sub, something like that. But it could come. Mimikyu, also Z-Mover, has pretty good coverage, and Disguise is such a broken ability. Could definitely see that thing coming as well. But realistically, if I'm picking a 6 for my opponent, I really feel like, based on their usage and based on what's good against my team, Mega Tyranitar is 100% coming. Zapdos is 100% coming. I really like, based on his usage and I guess to some extent the matchup, I could definitely see Hoopa coming as well. So I'm going to say Zapdos, Hoopa, and Mega Tyranitar are 100%. And then I think Mimikyu is also a really, really high chance of coming. And then maybe for like the last 2, some combination of Dhelmise, Emboar, Registeel, and Araquanid. Could totally see. So yeah, as you can tell, I have a good idea for like half of what my opponent's going to bring, but the other half of their team, we're just going to have to see. So I've kind of have some options for everything, but obviously some compositions my team is better against and some it's weaker against. But that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into our team builder. So we got Diancie with Magic Balance here, as usual, bringing our Mega every week. Diamond Storm, Moonblast, great combination. Diamond Storm over Power Gem just to hit Araquanid harder. The bug has really good special defense, but its physical defense is a lot weaker, so Diamond Storm is going to be able to pop it if we need to. Got Moonblast, really nice coverage, Zygarde, Emboar, hits Gyarados neutrally, Dhelmise, Hoopa, all that sort of stuff, Mega Tyranitar, so yeah. I figured it wasn't really even worth running any moves to try and hit Registeel just because that Pokemon is so bulky anyways. Going for Earth Power to do like 35% is like not that impressive. And given that I have other ways to deal with that. So I end up going for Protect. We can scout for Choice Scarfers. If my opponent wants to run something like HP Steel Scarf Zapdos, I can see that lead and like not lose my Diancie turn 1 for nothing. Heal Bell is also there just for some team support in case stuff like Quagsire gets toxic, or as you'll see later, to wake up my sleeping Snorlax. So I just figured Heal Bell, I might click it. I don't need to click it, but there's a chance I will. So I decided to run that over, like I said, Earth Power. But yeah, that's our Diancie. We got enough speed for max speed Zapdos, that's it. And then max special attack, the rest dumped into HP. Second Pokemon, we got Fully Fizz Death Ferrothorn, really just there to help us take on stuff like Mega Tyranitar, Zygarde, Dhelmise, Mimikyu, Gyarados, all those guys. That's really what our Fizz Def is there for. Got a nice Stealth Rock, try and chip away at Zapdos and Gyarados as needed. Also just putting chip on my opponent's team is going to make it really easy for some of my Pokemon like Diancie to try and clean up late game. Leech Seed is there just to try and help us get additional passive recovery and rack up some more chip. Knockoff is really there for trying to catch Dhelmise on switch in. Since my Gyro Ball and my Power Whip really do not do a whole lot to it, I figured I'd just go for the knockoff, get rid of that thing's leftovers, make the thing a lot more fragile. Then Power Whip is there just for hitting T-Tar, Araquanid, it hits Hoopa for a lot of damage, Gyarados, all that sort of stuff. So that's our Ferrothorn, pretty standard stuff. Our third Pokemon, we've got our nice Heracross with Guts Flame Orb. Rocking just 4 attacks here, no Swords Dance. We got enough speed for Gyarados, I believe. No, sorry. I originally EV'd it for Gyarados, but I actually put enough speed on it for Adamant Mimikyu. Yeah, so it's Adamant Mimikyu, max attack, the rest dumped into HP. Close Combat Mega Horn for our stabs, hit extremely hard. Flame Orb Guts, Stone Edge has a good... Depending on how much physical defense my opponent has on their Zapdos, Stone Edge actually has a pretty good chance of just OHKOing it after rocks with the Guts boost, so... we'll see that's what that's there for. And Shadow Claw is really there just to give me 100% accurate move against Salamence and Mimikyu. It will actually OHKO 0 bulk Mimikyu, so if my opponent is running Adamant Mimikyu, I can just get rid of that thing, assuming the disguise is gone, which is super nice. But yeah, if you look at my opponent's team, I mean, Registeel, Mega Tyranitar, Araquanid, Hoopa, I don't remember if I said Zygarde, Emboar, and anyways, none of those Pokemon can switch into Close Combat, plus any other attack. Close Combat will kill most of them, and then any other attack will certainly finish them off. So, Heracross is a really good breaker here. If I can get it in safely, I can just click a button, claim a kill, switch it out to my defensive Pokemon, try and pull an aggressive play to get Heracross back in, kill another thing, and you see how this is going. So, yeah, Heracross is going to be really one of my most effective breakers in this game, so I'm definitely going to want to try and keep that thing alive and keep it in a position to pick up as many kills as possible. Fourth Pokemon here, as usual, we got our Quagsire. My opponent has a lot of setup threats, stuff like Mega Tyranitar, Zygarde, Gyarados, so really our Quagsire is there to make sure we don't just lose to one of those big guys. Mimikyu as well, but Mimikyu could run something like Z Woodhammer and just kill my Quagsire, which would suck. So I'm not counting on it to check Mimikyu quite as hard as I am the other ones. But we just got 3 attacks recover, max Fizz Def here. HP Electric for the Gyarados, just in case it is something like a Taunt Gyarados. I got to make sure I can beat that thing 1v1, because otherwise it will do a huge number to my team. And then just Scald and Earthquake there, because burns are nice, and Earthquake just hits my opponent's team pretty hard. It's going to hit that Mega Tyranitar hard in the Scald just because of the Sand boost, boosting the T-Tar Speed F. So, yeah, that's our Quag, our 5th Pokemon, and definitely one of our potential win cons, assuming that there is no Emboar, or if I kill the Emboar, or if I kill like a Choice Band Hoopa, or a Nasty Plot Focus Blast Hoopa. So basically, if I can get rid of some of the stronger Pokemon, and all that's left are passive guys, this Snorlax can go in. We got Leftovers immunity, so I can force my opponent to waste a turn trying to Toxic this thing. We got a nice Curse to boost our attack and defense. Make the Snorlax pretty darn immortal, and then just return with Earthquake. I figured would give me the best coverage against everything. And we have Rest. So the idea being, even though I don't have Sleep Talk, with my massive Sped F bulk, you can see that I'm running careful with a lot of special defense investment. I can take any of my opponent's special hits, like Zapdos. Can't do anything to me really. And then my opponent's really only other Sped F Pokemon, or special attacking Pokemon, is Hoopa and Bound. And if it's not Nasty Plot, this thing is not going to break through Snorlax, I don't think, unless he hits lots of Focus Blasts. So yeah, the idea being that if I can get a couple curses up, his physical attackers are they have to set up to try and break through this thing, and his setup sweepers, like Zygarde 10, is super frail. It's going to get bodied by a +1 return, I'm pretty sure. Mega Tyranitar is going to take a lot from +1 Earthquake and stuff like that. So if I do end up getting low on HP, I can just rest, and the odds are if I have killed the Hoopa and I have 1 or 2 curse boosts up, I'm just going to be able to sit there and rest and spend my 2 turns of sleep, and they will not be able to break through this Lax, and then I'll be able to wake up and start going for damage again. So Lax definitely potential late game cleaner for me. And finally, our last Pokemon, our new recruit, Skuntank here. This guy is really here just to make sure that I don't lose to Sticky Webs, and also to help out against stuff like Dhelmise, and of course, Hoopa and Bound. I figure something like Scarf Hoopa is very possible against my team, and Scarf Physical Hoopa is definitely a possibility. Something like Drain Punch, Fire Punch, Knock Off, and I don't know, Zen Headbutt. So if I end up running Rocky Helmet, Aftermath, Skuntank with Defog, like I said, mainly they're just there for webs, but we got Pursuit to try and trap Hoopa. We've got Crunch, just so that way I have a move that doesn't depend on, that's not super weak like Pursuit, and Sucker Punch, which depends on my opponent attacking to do damage. So we got Crunch just for like a high base power move, and Sucker Punch just to give me some priority for if I just need to get a little bit of chip off or win a mind game or something like that. But yeah, max HP, got enough defense to make sure that we can take Choice Band, Hoopa, Drain Punch. Make sure that it's not ever going to be a 2-hit KO. And then the rest just dumped into attack. But yeah, if my opponent ends up bringing physical Hoopa, this is really going to be my way of getting rid of that thing and making sure that the way is paved for some of my other Pokemon to try and win, like Snorlax. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Skuntank can come through, making its debut on the team. I considered some other stuff like Latias or Moltres, but those things were just so bad against either like Mega Tyranitar or Hoopa that I was like, I don't think I can justify bringing those things as my defoggers, and I didn't really want to bring Blastoise as well as a Rapid Spinner, so I was like, I'll bring the Skuntank as the defogger, and I can also fit it to have a certain role against my opponent's team. So yeah, hopefully that works out. This is definitely a scary matchup, and depending on what my opponent could bring, this team could either do really well or really struggle. So yeah, yikes. Let's go ahead and head over to our battle, though. Alright, there we go. Got this up here. My computer's a little tired today, so hopefully this lag will disappear. Yep, there we go. Okay, it's looking a little bit better. Alright, so getting to this, my opponent does pretty much bring the three that I thought were coming. The Zapdos, the Tyranitar, and the Hoopa Unbound all came. And definitely was prepared for something like Araquanid and Dhelmise coming based on his usage. He does seem to like to bring both of those guys. They both have pretty high usage, so I was like, okay, Araquanid and Dhelmise I could definitely see coming, and Emboar, like I said, just has a pretty good matchup, so I definitely could see Emboar coming as well. So this definitely looks like a winnable matchup, but we'll have to see what my opponent's sets are and how they play as to how this match goes. But my opponent really doesn't have a great anti-lead for Diancie, so I'm just going to go ahead and lead off with Diancie. And I can protect and just scout if I am afraid of anything. So let's go ahead and get into it. My opponent leads off with Zapdos as I lead off with Diancie here. As I said in the team builder, something like Scarf HP Seal Zapdos could exist, so I am going to protect here and see what my opponent wants to do. As they do go T-Tars, that tells me it's not Scarf or... well, it's just not Scarf. If you were Scarf, you would just Volt Switch there if you didn't have HP Steel. So tells me that's not Scarf. He goes Mega T-Tar. This thing can absolutely eat a hit from my Diancie and go for like Iron Head or Earthquake and just take me out. So yeah, I'm not going to risk my Diancie staying in here against this T-Tar. And just for me to do 50% with Boom Blast and then get O-Code or whatever. So I'm just going to switch out here. My opponent makes a really nice play. Pursuits, expecting me to realize that I can't kill this Mega T-Tar and just wanted to get some chip off. He goes for the Pursuit as I switch out, which is a really nice play on his part, getting damaged. But I'm going to go Quagsire. This thing is meant to take on T-Tar. Now here I do expect something like either the Dhelmise or the Araquanid to come out to try to get up Sticky Web, so I'm actually going to make an aggressive double and go back out into my Diancie, but my opponent's going to stand and go for Stealth Rock, so make what looks like a godly play and get the magic bounce off, get my rocks up, but obviously that was not my intention. So here I feel like my opponent's pretty committed to just staying in with this Tyranitar here. I've seen Pursuit, I've seen Stealth Rock. I figure he probably has a way to kill me, but yeah, rather than risking him trying to Pursuit me again, expecting me to switch out again, or trying to go for rocks again on my expected switch, I'm just going to decide to stay in here and Moonblast and get chip off. Worst case, if he does kill me, I do lose a really good threat and a really good speeds here, something that can beat down Araquanid, Zapdos, non-Scarf Hoopa, and do a ton to Emboar, but yeah, so losing this thing would definitely suck, but it will give me a free switch into my Heracross, and that also just guarantees me a kill, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, especially if I get chip off here and prevent rocks from going up. So he does Iron Head, knocks me out, but as I said, Heracross comes out here, and I'm going to be able to claim my kill, right? So I figure he's probably not going to stay in here, because close combat is super obvious, right? And you have a Dhelmise, so expecting him to go Dhelmise here. Actually, Megahorn. Megahorn does a couple things. He gets chip on everything on my opponent's team and puts them in range of another attack. So, like, if Zapdos comes out here and I hit the Megahorn, it's guaranteed in range of Stone Edge, and I should be faster than it because I think you should run a physically defensive Zapdos if you're my opponent. But yeah, and like I said, this is also going to do a KO the Dhelmise, so I figure Mega Horn's my best play, as he does go Delmise to try and get a rapid spin off. And you can see 62%. This thing is almost dead, which is super, super nice. Get my Flame Orb activated, and now I'm just going to go for my 100% accurate move. Just go for the Shadow Claw and knock this Delmise out. But he does elect to sack the Mega Tyranitar for some reason. So I get the Shadow Claw off. I take 12% for my burn in the sand, which is a bit of a bummer, but I'm going to just close combat here because now everything's dead. So I kill the Tyranitar, so rocks are off my side of the field for the game, which is super nice. And now he's going to have to go out into some sort of Scarfer to revenge kill this, because like I'm going to kill Araquanid, I'm going to kill Delmise, I'm going to kill Zapdos, assuming it's not fast. I'll be able to just kill it. So he has to go out into a Scarfer, or at least bluff a Scarfer. And really the two likely Scarfers you're going to see are going to be Emboar and Hoopa. So I do call it this is going to be like a Scarf Hoopa, and I'm going to call it into Skuntank, our new recruit. As expected, yeah, he does go for the Fire Punch, and as you can see, he does crit it, so it's not choice band, but I still take around 50%, top tier EV spreads. And look at this. So the Hoopa switched in on rocks, so this takes 12%. He's going to take 6% from sand. He's going to take that 16% from that Rocky Helmet. So now this Hoopa's at 66%. That's A-okay with me, because this thing is a huge threat, especially if it is Scarf. I'm just going to go for my Pursuit here. I know they live any hit. He's obviously physical, so if he wants to stay in here on the Pursuit, he is going to take like 30% from Pursuit, from the 40 base power Pursuit. He'll take another turn of Sand, take another turn of Rocky Helmet, and he won't be able to knock me out. So there's no scenario in which this Hoopa escapes here alive, so I'm okay with that. He does end up switching out as I Pursuit. I do 60%, so this thing is dead to rocks, which is great because his hazard removal is Delmise with Rapid Spin. The Delmise is at 20% and can't come in against this. Or it could be Defog Zapdos, which, you know, can certainly get rid of rocks, but as long as the Skuntank is alive, this Hoopa is dead, because if it ever goes for an attack against the Skuntank, it's going to die to Rocky Helmet. So yeah, basically got rid of Hoopa. Super nice for me. For some reason he goes out to Delmise, which I don't really understand. Like, you could have kept the Delmise as a sack or tried to get like a Rapid Spin off on something like my Quagsire, so I'm not really sure why he decided to sack this Pokemon here. That's just, it's not great Mons playing. I mean, like, I already pursued you, so I already went for an attack. So that leaves you free to go out into something like Scarf Emboar, if you have that, and just try and knock out the Skuntank with Flare Blitz or Superpower or Earthquake or something like that. So I'm not really sure why he goes up to Delmise, but he does. I'm just going to crunch and knock this thing out. We saw from the Sandstorm that I am faster, so even if he was like max speed Delmise, you know, I don't know what his set was, but even if it was like max speed to try and outrun Skuntank, a 0-speed Skuntank, we can see it from the Sandstorm that I am faster. So I'm just going to crunch, knock this thing out. So rocks are up, barring Defog on Zapdos, which means Hoopa is dead, which is great. So yeah, everything else is going to be taking chip. He does go out to Emboar here. I'm just going to Sucker Punch for some more damage here. Get off 18%, as does Earthquake. Sucker Punch tells me this thing is very low bulk, which does indicate that it's probably Scarf, but we'll see. I end up going out to Quagsire here, just because this thing is really going to sit on Emboar. However, I am going to make a bit of an aggressive play, because I am afraid of potentially this thing being like Grass Knot Emboar. Like maybe just like fast, like Expert Belt, Grass Knot Emboar. So I'm actually going to double out to my Heracross here, because obviously with the Bug type, I will resist the Grass Knot. And it tells me that this Emboar is not going to be Scarf. If he does go for Grass Knot, and my Heracross will be guaranteed to be faster, and I can click close combat and kill something. So yeah, Heracross comes in here. So my opponent does make a smart sack. They sack the Hoopa off as I go out to my Heracross. And here they bring the Emboar back in, which does tell me this thing is most likely Scarf, or again, they're just bluffing Scarf. So no reason for me not to go out to Quagsire here, as they do just go for the Flare Blitz. Given that I do think this thing is Scarf, and that I made the Heracross double the last time, I'm not going to make it again, because if I do make the Heracross double and they just Flare Blitz, that's going to really stink. I did really want to predict something like Zapdos or Araquanid coming out here, but I figured it wasn't in my best interests. Because, again, if my opponent is not Scarf and they decide to Grass Knot here, and they kill my Quagsire. At this point, because the Hoop is dead, my Heracross comes out. It clicks Close Combat, kills the Emboar. The Arachnid comes out. I'm pretty sure Megahorn kills that thing. Stone Edge definitely kills it if it hits. And the Zapdos, if it's not really fast Zapdos, it's going to die to Stone Edge. So I'm not going to risk my Heracross here. My opponent does switch out into the Arachnid as I just go for a Earthquake. I do 16%. I don't see an item. No leftovers. So it does tell me this thing might be Choice Band or something. But I'm going to make the safe play here. Go out to my Ferrothorn on this Arachnid. It's there for this thing. He does go for the web. As now I can just throw off a nice Leech Seed as the Zapdos comes in here. It's just dope. And here I'm just going to go for a knockoff. I'm not sure what this thing's item is, but if it is leftovers, it will be a lot easier to take this thing out. So we actually didn't see the leftovers when it... Well, actually, he never stayed in, so I'm not sure on the item. But I do knock off as the Arachnid comes back in. I guess he was fearing that his Zapdos, even if it did have Heat Wave, if I was running any special defense bulk on my Ferrothorn, he was not going to be able to KO it. So he ends up switching out to the Arachnid as I go for the knockoff, get off a nice 23%, and now this thing is trapped in with rocks. So he ends up going for the liquidation, kills himself to my Iron Barbs, get a little bit of HP back, and now Zapdos comes back in. So I was like, okay. Given that I am full Fizz Def, I am very much in range of a Heat Wave from my opponent, so I figure I'll just stay in and Leech Seed. If he wants to roost or whatever, I get the seed off, then I can switch out into my Snorlax, which is designed to beat the Zapdos 1v1. But he does just throw off the Heat Wave, and this is okay with me because we don't see leftovers, and I'm able to go out to my Snorlax, and now at this point, the Emboar is at 36% once it switches in from rocks. I know that's in range of my return, so there's no reason for me not to just click return here. I don't need to risk setting up and having go Emboar and crit me with superpower. And my Snorlax is designed to beat the Zapdos. I gave it a free switch in by sacking off the Ferrothorn, so yeah, now I can just click return here and pick up my KO, hopefully. He does go for the Discharge Hacks, doesn't get the para, and I am going to knock out the Zapdos with the return, which is dope. So now all that's left is the Emboar. Assuming this thing is Scarf, there is nothing it can lock itself into to beat my entire team. And he does just go for the Earthquake here, as I'm going to go for an Earthquake of my own and knock him out and win the game. So Snorlax picking up the final 2 KOs, pretty nice. I guess losing the Diancie super early was really bad for me. But in the end, it ended up working out because, like I said, I did give Heracross the free switch in, and that thing just went brazy in this game. Killing the T-Tar, weakening the Dhelmise super bad, and then just being able to just put pressure on my opponent's entire team and forcing him to go out to his Scarfers, which then allowed me to get into a better position by switching into some of my walls that his Scarfers couldn't beat. So yeah, also really happy with the Skuntank. First week on the team, traps a major threat in Hoopa, and yeah, super dope. I'm actually not sure who gets the KO for the Hoopa. I'm assuming it's Diancie since the Stealth Rocks were... Because since it died to Stealth Rocks and the Stealth Rocks were essentially set up by the Diancie, I'm assuming that Diancie gets that KO, but not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, end up picking up 3-0 win, so we're improving to 7-3 with, I think, a plus 23 differential with, 2 games left to go? So definitely going to hang on to 4th place this week, and one step closer to locking up playoffs and locking up that first round bye. So looking good. Definitely happy with how this battle went. And yeah, for once, I actually played during the week, so I'll have this up for you guys on... You'll be seeing this on Saturday, which is kind of nice, because that's a good day for draft leagues to go up. Anyways, that aside, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, leave a comment if you did, and I will see you guys next week for Week 11. Peace.